plus you must be knowing, right? What is I plus plus? It is short form of I is equal to I plus 1. Okay. So whenever I want to use I equal to I plus 1, I can use I plus plus in Mathematica as well as MATLAB without any problem. So that is what they are doing. And what is most important about this tutorial is that you can straight away run this thing from your tutorial. So this is also working like a book for you. Okay. For example, this is happening. You just want to say that, okay, I don't want 4 here. I want 10 here, and then run it. So it will run there also. Remember, I am in the help file of Mathematica. And most importantly, after I close this thing again, it will go back to normal. That means you are allowed to play with the examples in the help itself. Not like you are getting something and finally you will not be means you have to just see what they are giving. You can taste your own things there, but one has to understand this is assignment and this is equality or inequality, whatever you call it, comparison. Okay, so this is it. Now you can see even the second case, but what is important is syntax. See here you are having a semicolon, then you are having uh, some other thing here, and then again you are having a comma. Now, as far as Mathematica is concerned, you have to be very careful about semicolon and comma. This is a typical basic error that people means have in writing any code. Okay, here everything is comma, right? So the moment I put a comma, that means now it is expecting to have this item. Again, I am writing comma, it is expecting to have this item. That means in my code, I should not use comma anywhere. And in fact, in Mathematica, there is no chance of using comma in your actual code in that way. Okay, it will always be part of the syntax only. Okay, now let us come back to our original thing. So what we have done, n equal to 206. What is the meaning of the semicolon? It will not display this output. It will assign n to be equal to 206, but it will not tell you or it will not display that thing there. So for loop, this is my initiation. Okay, I'm starting with this thing. Then I'm checking this. Now, if I really want to write down, you might tell that, okay, how did you write this thing? So it is simply this thing, less equal to space. So automatically that thing will come. Okay. It is like auto correction kind of thing. Okay. So you have got I equal to 1. You are checking this condition, whether I is less or equal to n or not. So the moment n is equal to 207, it will come out of this loop. But until and unless it is 206, it will be continuously going with this body. Then next thing is obviously increment. So in what increment do you want to go? So I plus plus. Okay. Sometimes people have a habit of writing this h here, right? And increment also will be uh, I is equal to or h is equal to h plus 0.1. People write it that way also. But this is a better way of doing, because here you want to see that how many number of iterations you are going to do. So n is basically number of iterations for us. Okay. And everybody has got a different style of writing the codes as such. So this is my way of doing it, nothing else. So here is a comma, here is a comma, and here is a comma. And fourth thing which is left out is the body. Okay. So body means now you, whatever you want to be done in your whole iterations every time will be written here. So K1, K2, K3, K4, the way you are writing in your RK4 method. And then what is happening? Whatever xn you have, that xn will be incremented by h, and yn will be incremented by dy, as we already do in RK4. And this is the most important thing. Remember, we had initiated this x data, and x data was having only one element, x0. Y data was having only one element, y0. Now what we are doing is whatever is derived here or computed here will be appended in this part. Okay. So whatever you have, you are simply appending here. Again, you are doing the same thing. It will do it up to say 206 cases. Let us not go up to 206. Let us go to 20, for example. Okay. Now, another important thing. So this is the way you write a for loop in Mathematica. Remember, there are only three commas. One comma here, one comma here, one comma here. Rest all are semicolons because I don't want to display this output anywhere. But one has to understand, even if I did not display anything here, I am doing one simple command here. Every time I identify what is xn and ym, I am appending it to x data. That means initially my x data was having only one value. But after all these iterations, my x data will have 21 values. Okay. Now the question is, I have got one x array separately. I have got one y array separately. I want to make a table out of it. So that table is written in this way. Table means data set, you can say. But here, table does not literally mean table in that way, right? As far as Mathematica is concerned, it is not table in that way. Why it is not showing that editing part here? I don't know. It is showing only here. Okay. See, when I write X, Y data set, okay, so this is X and this is Y. But the moment I write it this way, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, X3, Y3. This is how I write a table in Mathematica. This is first row, this is second row, this is third row. So actually what I have written is this thing, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, X3, Y3. This is what I have actually written in this case. Okay. So what is important? That your table as such will be looking like this. But if you really want to be seen in this way, then you have to write a separate command for it if you want to display it this way. Remember, whether you display it this way or that way, it is the table only which is of some use to you directly. Okay. It is just a matter of presenting it, nothing else. So what is happening here? You are writing a table here. And how do you want to make a table? You want that X data J, that means jth element in X data. How many elements are there right now? We have got 20 elements or 21 element rather, because this will go up to 20 and this will be one more. So there will be 21 elements and this will be going up to this many things. Okay. And obviously here we have chosen I. That means up to how many iterations did we go? So this I is taken after all these things are done. So this will be going up to that much number of things. Okay. Or if you want, you can go even up to what we can say n also, not an issue. Okay. So you have got table which is made like this. So this is first point when j is equal to 1. Second point, j equal to 2. Third point, j equal to 3 and so on. And now you are writing it in table form. Okay. So once you have it in table form, then the next question is, what do you want to do with that table? Let us run this thing. Okay. So let me have both these things seen so you can have an idea about what it is doing. Oh, I have to quit the kernel. Remember, wherever you get this kind of issues, the first thing that you need to do is quit the kernel, because while playing with lot many things, we might have used one or two things here as our variable in the other cases. Yeah, let me check this. X0 is this, H is this, X data, n equal to this. What is the issue? Oh, there is some xn.
You have deleted the action variable.
Oh, here xn and yn are variables, na? Okay, and that is why this was there. Okay, so this was xn. Normally it happens because this code was written long back, so we forget why that thing was used. Okay, let us run it again. Now it is coming. See, the basic idea is This is the table. Okay. And now that table is written in a table form. That's it. Okay. So you have got 0 and you have got 2. So 21 items are there, and this is the output. Okay, for this particular case. So if you recall, when we were working earlier, it gave us this shape. Where was that? Here. See, this is the same shape that we got. Did we do anything here? We did not write any single code. It was only one line code and gave the same thing, right? For example, if I simply put 2 here, it is the same problem that we solved there. Now, the only thing is that, is it possible to get this kind of data from anywhere? This is most important. What it has done is, it has actually identified a function which is representing that data. So what it has done is, it has identified interpolating polynomial or interpolating function, right? And that function is going to give you this thing. So it is saying that, okay, it is some method which they have used, say Hermite method they used, and it is not periodic, because obviously we know that original solution was having exponential something. So obviously it is not periodic. There is no sinusoidal or cosine thing coming up. Okay. And uh, this is the thing. Now, can we somehow use this thing as an output? Because if we can use this thing, then we don't need to write this whole code. See, you have written this whole code and finally got this answer. Here, without writing any single code, you simply wrote this thing and you got the answer. Okay. Now, the next question is whether we can use this thing or not, whether we can utilize this thing or not. So, let us try to identify whether we can extract this function from this or not. Okay. So, let me remove this thing so that we can. Could you understand the point here? What I am trying to do? Hmm? See, in this case, we wrote a code using RK4 method as we know it, and finally we got this graph. Okay. In this case also, it showed that graph here. It is that actual graph that we'll be getting, right? But the only thing is that what we wanted was these numbers. But here we did not get those numbers. So if we get those numbers from here instead of this kind of output, sometimes you will feel that what will we do with this kind of output? But probably this kind of output also can be identified, right? For example, let us say, what is this thing? This is D1. So if I say what is D1, okay, it is going to give me this thing. Okay. So let me say that I have got some function TT. Let me use some different this thing only, right? TT of X is equal to D1. 1 minute, huh? D1 slash dot y of, let me see whether, no, it is replacing it, y of x from D1, I think. This particular thing I don't use very frequently, so I tend to forget it. Yeah. Okay. So let me have this thing as. So what is happening now? Now my TTX is nothing but that function. So if I write TT of 0, it should give me 1. Okay. If I write TT of 0.1, it should give me 1.11034. See here, 0.01134. Let me put it this way so that you have a feel of it. Remember, what did I do? I simply extracted that function which I got here in this kind of form, and now I am simply writing those things. Even I can tell that, okay, my x is equal to, say, range 0 to 2 in steps of 0.1. Okay. And I am asking tt of x. You can see here tt of x. If I want, I can write it in table form. If it is in table form and one column only, then it will be just a column. You can even verify this thing. It is exactly the same thing that we see here. There is no difference at all. That means when we do this thing using inbuilt features, whole RK4 thing is only one line. Only thing is that you should know how to extract this output in terms of a function. What is most important here is you really don't know the function even now. You don't know what is the function, but you can compare exactly same numbers are there. This output is coming from explicit code that we have written for RK4, and this output is coming from inbuilt Mathematica function. You can check, they are exactly same. In fact, this will be a check that whatever you understand in RK4 is working all right. Is it okay? So, what is important? You could solve a differential equation numerically straight away in this way, in one line. And as such, it could solve even analytically also. But if you want to solve it numerically, only thing you have to tell is what is the initial value, what is the actual differential equation, and what is the range of x in which you want to solve it. Three things you have to tell. And it will be working for you. Of course, it will not be showing you the function directly, but it will be giving you this kind of thing. And now if you really want to plot this, right? For example, let us say I want to put it in, let us say, table. Okay. So solution is equal to table. Then let us write x and tt of x. Okay. And let us say x ranges from 0 to 2 in steps of 0.1. Okay. So this is your table as it comes. And what you want is you want to plot that data. Okay. So, okay, let me close this here. List plot. Now see, earlier when we were writing plot, that means we were giving a function. Now we are basically trying to plot a list of data. Okay, so we should be using a different function which is called list plot. So that list plot, and then you will have solution. Now here you don't need to give anything else as such. So if I really do this thing, I'll be getting this kind of function. Now, if you see this function and this function, as you say, they are exactly same. Even this function is the same thing. You can check, right? So you can literally use Mathematica to solve RK4 without writing any code. I showed you that how to do that thing with a code. I also showed you how do you do the same thing without writing any single code. Nothing is needed. What you need to do is you just try to put everything in a way where you can simply work with that. Okay. So you have to write this thing in a notebook and then probably write it in this particular sequence. And finally, you will be getting this kind of output. Okay. Suppose if I want to use this thing as joined lines, so I have to write simply joined, then arrow, true. This arrow will automatically turn out to be this kind of arrow. And if I press true, that means it will be simply joining a line. And now this is exactly the same thing that you see here. No change at all. See, exactly same. Okay. Is it clear? What I am trying to demonstrate is you can actually write the full RK4 code in Mathematica, which will be going like this. It is one full page almost, we can say, one full screen, right? Or you can simply use one line code which gives you ultimately the same output. Only thing is that you should know how to extract this particular thing from there. Okay. So how did I do that? TT, I defined a function, and I already, as I told you in the first session, that when you define a function, it has to be written in this way. So x underscore, that means x is the variable for me, and I want to get yx from this d1. But because it is coming in a bracket, I have to tell that, okay, I want the first element out of that, right? See, here it was double brackets. So when I asked for d1, it was giving me with one bracket. But if I want one more bracket to be gone, I'll be writing it as, okay, I want the first element from that. So whatever is that, remember, this is a function. Only thing is that we don't know what is that function. And we don't care, because ultimately what we want is the solution in numerical form. So that we are already getting. It is this. Is it okay? Of course, when you say that you are going to deal with, say, coupled differential equations, or maybe what you can say higher order differential equations, then it may not be directly working out in the same way. But then you should know how to do it in this way. Yeah. If you have any questions up to this point, you may ask. I have just demonstrated only one case where you can directly use inbuilt Mathematica functions to get the solution of differential equation numerically and analytically. And you can also write a typical code as you are writing in Fortran or MATLAB or anywhere. Remember, this kind of code with proper syntax, if you write in any programming language, right, it will be giving you the same output. So Mathematica works as at par with all other languages, right? But at the same time, it has got its own inbuilt way of solving the things. That also turns out to be this. If you have any query, question so far, we can discuss. I am waiting. Yes? Any question, query? Anybody?
Student, please means you can ask your doubt at whatsoever the point.
See, basic idea is that I am just trying to demonstrate that what you in normal condition where you require a full code to be written in Mathematica, it can be done in one line. There are both the things available in front of you. One is full code giving you the same output. The other one is only one line code that also gives you the same output, right? So if I put it in side by side mode, it will be this way. See, this is the whole code that you have written, and this is your output. Here, you just wrote one line. Of course, if you wanted the output to be seen in this way, then you had to write one more code in between. That's it. You have just written one more line in between, and then you are getting the whole range as such. Well, is it serving the purpose to say that there are many inbuilt things in Mathematica that can be straight away used? Of course, when you are using anything as a black box, you have to be very careful. In fact, I have a habit of writing the separate code and checking whether it is giving me the same thing that I intend or not, because otherwise it can become difficult. If you use something as a black box, you are giving some input and getting some output. That won't be working in many cases, right? You have to check whether it is really doing the same thing that I understand, or is it doing something else, right? Yeah. Is it clear what I wanted to display here?
Yes, sir.
कि मजा नहीं आ रहा है? लंच के बाद ये प्रॉब्लम होता है, इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ.
Yes, sir. At least for me, it's clear. Means, but student they should also speak.
Yeah, means in online thing, this is the issue. You don't know whether they are with you or not. That's why I'm asking, nothing else. Okay. Let us move forward. Let us take one more example. Okay. This is just first order differential equation. Okay. Now, do you have any idea about what can be any other example? Any other example? Remember, as I already told you in the first session, it is not practically possible to means go through everything Mathematica can do, but we can go with specific issues and then we can see how detailed it can go for that particular case, right?
Sir,
Bolo, bolo.
just I'm adding.
Yeah.
Is it possible to take a simple quantum problem like a particle in a box?
Yeah.
So maybe that involves the differential equation also, and they are
Of course. Actually, I am planning to do that only, but this is the first step toward that.
Okay, sir.
Remember, in principle, no doubt it won't be done with a single line command or thing. You have to write a separate proper code for that thing. But it is very possible to solve Schrodinger equation numerically. It is very possible to solve anything numerically in Mathematica. Okay. So, for example, let us, as you are saying this thing, let us try to see one more example and then we'll be going with Schrodinger. For example, let us say we have got this thing, right? Then I will be going ahead with some other problem. So let me first quit the kernel so that there is no other garbage data coming from the previous session. Okay. Now see, this is a code which we wrote for solving the white dwarf equation of state. Okay. Again, this was using RK4 method only. Okay. What is required is of course you are writing all these universal constants as you require in your normal code. So whatever values we have to define, we have defined those values. Then we are defining what is this thing. You can see here that I can even write rho c here. There is no issue. You can use symbols for your variables, for your functions everywhere. Okay. What is rho c in this particular case? So we have tried to make this code as much readable as possible, right? So when we are giving this thing, obviously, what is this thing that is written in the comment here? If you want, I can share this code with you. It is actually working code for white dwarf system. Okay. Then this is Ye. Ye is number of electron per nuclear in the star matter, right? So because you are dealing with, say, suppose if you are dealing with only hydrogen, then number of electron per nucleon will be 1. But if you are dealing with helium, then it will be 0.25. If you are dealing with deuterium, it will be then 0.5 and so on. So depending on what was the last run thing, this Ye might change. H is the step size as always. Then these are your basic things that is required when you are writing this. Now, these were the two, what you can say, equations, differential equations, coupled differential equations that we had to solve. Okay. Again, the same thing. This is the same initialization. Okay. So what you are doing is you are writing R, rho, M. They are all going up to n+1 blank sets. Okay. Generation of blank set. So depending on how you are writing that code or how your thought process is, you are writing all these things. Okay. Earlier, if you recall, I had only started off these things with nothing but just blank sets or only one value set. Okay. Then you are initializing these values. So R1 is this, rho 1 is this, and this M1 is this. So R is the radius, rho is the density. So when you are, it is this thing actually. When you say I cannot catch it. It's not allowing me to touch it. Okay. See, basically, what happens is, suppose if you are trying to solve a white dwarf system, what happens is, suppose this is the white dwarf. You are starting from the center and then you are moving in this direction. So at the center, obviously, the density of the star is maximum, and that is what we call rho c. So in our code, it is rho c like this. Okay. As I go out, so before you actually solve any problem, you should have a clear-cut idea about how you are going to solve that particular thing. As I go out, the density is going to decrease. So density at the center is going to be maximum. As I go out, the density is decreasing. And when I start moving out, when my radius is, say, capital R, and this value which I am changing is R. So when my R is greater than R, what will happen is the mass accumulated inside this thing will become constant. Actually, what is happening? Suppose if I am here, so the sphere which is subtended by that distance is defining the mass for me. When I'm here, it will be this mass. So obviously, when I'm here, I will have the maximum mass possible for my star. And now if I move further in my solving the equation, this, suppose if I am here now, right? Then also the mass subtended in my case will be remaining constant. That means if I really want to plot this thing, so if this is R and this is mass, then I expect that, okay, when I am at the center, my mass is 0. When I am going out, my mass is increasing and it will be going this way. Then it will become a constant. And as far as density is concerned, it will be the maximum density here. As I go out, my density is decreasing, right? And at this point, my density of the material is 0 beyond this point, because there is no matter. Here, you have got maximum density. As you go out, the density of the star decreases. At this point, there is no density of star. So when I try to plot this thing, or when I try to solve the differential equations, coupled differential equations for rho and m, then I am supposed to get this kind of graphs. Ultimately, what I am doing is I am simply putting those things in my RK4 method, coupled equations, and then I am doing this thing. Of course, when you are writing this kind of code, there are certain things which comes according to your requirement. For example, we have written here, we don't know how many steps will be required to go out of the star. Okay. So suppose if I say that, okay, my H is 5,000, that means my step size is 5 kilometer, because this is the increment in the radius of the star. Okay. So after every 5 kilometer, what is mass, what is rho, that it is basically trying to give us. Okay. So that is what we have written. And another important thing is that the moment you say that, okay, if I am going out of the star, then you have to stop the simulation and come out of the loop. So in earlier case, what was happening? We decided that, okay, it has to go for 20 iterations. So 20 iterations it is doing and coming out. Here, there is a conditional breaking of the system. So conditional breaking will be like, if you have got some imaginary part coming in for rho, right? And this is, or some imaginary part for m as well. When these things are not 0, right? That means these things are becoming imaginary when you try to solve them. In that case, you break it. That means either m or rho, when they become imaginary in your system, you break the system and come out of it. Ultimately, what you are doing is you are every time simply, now see, in earlier case, I used append to. Here I am using some other way of doing the same thing. So it depends on your learning process. It depends on the way you are looking at the problem. These syntax or these logical what you can say statements will change a bit, but finally you are going to get some output uh, as per your requirement if you know how to read properly. Another thing which is important is you can always write these things in some files as well, right? Suppose if I want to write down a output in some file, I have to simply write it here and with a what you can say path of the file. But those are the things that we can do even little later also, not an issue. So what is the basic idea? You wrote that thing, you found out this thing, and then finally you are seeing this, that distance from the center of the star is this much. That means this is the radius for us. At that radius, my density turns out to be this thing. Now you can see here that density has to be zero when we are reaching the end of the problem. That means we have to somehow tune our H so that this number turns out to be something very close to zero. This number is not going to change much as you go with this thing, right? So let us say instead of 5,000, let us say I am giving 500, okay, and run the code. So when I am running this code, this is giving me this output, right? So here it is giving me 4,000 kg per meter cube. Of course, 4,000 meter per kg cube is not that much big, this thing, but still we can say that, okay, it is that way. 50 meters. So now I am choosing 50 meters as the step size. Obviously, it will take a little more time to get the output. And now you can see here, this is 162 kilogram per meter cube. So what is the basic idea? By simply fine tuning what should be the value of H, you can reach up to zero here, right? Or if you want, you can put this whole thing in a code or in a loop, and every time you are checking the density of star. Whenever the density of star is somewhat closer to the value that you desire, for example, if you say that, okay, I want that rho has to be less than 0.01 kg per meter cube. जब तक ये होता है तब तक अपना h की वैल्यू कम करते जाओ, right? Just go on doing that. So automatically what will happen, at some value of h, you will get that thing. So if you want, you can do it manually. If you want, you can do the whole thing in a, what you can say, for loop. And then finally that for loop will check whether this row of that maximum value that you are getting is less than that particular threshold value or not. If it is less than the threshold value, fine, you are good to go. You can say that, okay, this is the final radius of my star and this will be the final mass of the star. You can see here that the mass is not changing much, okay, but this is changing. So for example, instead of this 50, if I do 5, probably it will be taking much more time, but it will be giving me even better result here because your step size is decreasing. Okay, so this is how you deal with coupled differential equations. Now, for example, let us erase this thing. For example, suppose if you have got harmonic oscillator, right? So I am d square x by d t square plus b dx by dt plus k x is equal to 0. Suppose, for example, you have got this harmonic oscillator equation, which is a second order one. If I want to solve this thing using the same code, can I do that? That is the question number one. I want to use the same code for solving this equation. Obviously, m is the mass, b is the damping coefficient, and k is the force constant for the given system. Okay, what I want is, I want to plot x with respect to t. जो भी आता हो ऐसा 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 ऐसा, whatever it comes. Can I use the same code for that? Let us say I'll just change this thing as HO, right? Harmonic oscillator. Fine. So obviously we don't need all these things there, because harmonic oscillator is comparatively a very simpler problem. Okay. So how do you do that? So program to compute, or let us just okay, displacement of harmonic oscillations. Okay. Using fourth order Runge-Kutta method. So let us put it this way. So obviously, first thing which we need to do is we have to somehow find out in what way shall we modify this thing. Because if you see here, we are supposed to have two functions. One is f, the other is g. Only thing we need to know is how will we put down this f and g here. That is important. Okay. So in this particular case, we have got only one equation. Can we convert this thing into coupled differential equation? Anybody? Yes. Can this be converted into a coupled differential equation set? This is something which is basic. I think it should not be a problem for anybody to answer this question, because as I am told, you are all either master students or PhD students. How do you convert this thing into coupled differential equation set? Anyone? कोई है कि सिर्फ मैं ही बोल रहा हूँ?
सर नहीं बात था सर।
हाँ, तो नहीं पता है तो ऐसा बोलो कि नहीं पता है। ये मतलब आप लोग मेरी जगह पे बैठोगे तो काफी फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग लगेगा, बिकॉज
नहीं
मैं
नहीं
एक
सर,
रूम में
पता है
अकेला
वो।
बैठ के कुछ बोल रहा हूँ और सामने कोई सुन रहा है कि नहीं मुझे पता ही नहीं है, ऐसा हो जाता है ना।
हाँ सर, वो तो सही बात है आपकी।
ओके, बिकॉज फिजिकल क्लास इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग ऑल टुगेदर, राइट? Okay, so what we can do is we can simply define some v. V is nothing but dx by dt, let us say. Okay, so we can say that dx by dt is equal to v is my first differential equation, and my second differential equation will be like, okay, let me put this thing here first. So it will be m dv by dt plus bv plus kx is equal to 0. But according to our basic understanding of RK4 method, we have to write two equations in such a way that both are basically dx by dt and dv by dt. Okay, so ultimately what should I do? I have to write here dv by dt to be equal to 1 by m minus bv minus kx, right? Is it fine? So what we have done is, this is my f function, this is my g function. Okay, so this is f, this is g. Of course, as far as our understanding is concerned, we will be getting something which is not directly wanted for us. We will be getting what will be t value, what will be v value, what will be x value. This will be getting. This t is incremented by h. V will be changing accordingly. X will be changing accordingly. Okay. So let us try to put those things here. So f is dv by dt for us. So what I'll do is, f, I will say that this is nothing but v. Thank you. This is nothing but v. Okay. And let me put this t x v. Okay. Here also I will put v x t. Fine. And this is my, so 1 by m, and then I am writing minus b space v minus k space x. So I have written both the equations now as we wanted. Okay, and very obviously I have to define what is b. So let us say b is say 0.1, B is damping factor. And what is K? So K, let it be say 0.02 or something. It is your force constant. If you assume that thing as a spring and blob kind of system, right? And M, for the time being, we can keep 1, not an issue. So once I have this thing, then automatically this Vxt, when I'm writing, okay? So I have to change that thing everywhere, right? Oh. So this is T, then this is V, this is X is equal to this one. So R of, or let us say T. So T is 0, fine. Rho की जगह पे यहाँ पे आएगा X. Initial displacement, let us say I will give 1, and initial velocity I'll give 0. Let it be so, no problem. Then I am simply using, everywhere R I have to replace by T, 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 T. There is a specific, what we can say, there is one shortcut also for this, but I don't recall right now. You can replace all of them together. But right now, it will be better to directly change them straight away. And first function that we had defined was V. So next thing is V here. V, 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 V. And this also will be V and V. Right? And this last one will be X. So X, X, X. You can see here that we have written M into that bracket I. That means it is ith element of M array. That is the meaning. Here that M is to be replaced by X for us. Right? So X, X, and because we are dealing with what we can say, initial value problem only, we will have this thing. So these are not needed as such. Okay. Then T1 is this table. So R is basically T, and rho was V, and M was X. Right? And now let us not put these things here because they are not the labels that we need in this case. See, I just converted a code which was solving white dwarf into a code of solving differential equation for harmonic oscillator. Okay. Let us hope that nothing is left out in this as such. Okay. So let us try to run this. So first of all, I will quit the local kernel, which is already quit. I am evaluating the notebook. Let us see whether we'll missed something or not.
Sir,
Okay.
put equal after
Anything
K.
is left out?
Sir, initial value, some equality sign is K is equals to 0.02.
Oh. Equals to this thing. Fine. Anything else if you are observing? There is some issue here. Let us say that T1 is this. Let me put it this way. This I don't want. Right? I am choosing a blank set. And then I am putting this thing to be like this. Okay. Okay. So let us do one thing. T is equal to, let us put this specifically, T 0.00 semicolon V. See, this is the way it works normally. When you are working with any code, so the thought process that is going in your mind at that time will decide how the code goes away, right? In that case, that was working. In this case, this will be working. So what I have done is now I have defined specific first value. Okay. And T is now a set with one number only. V is another thing. Okay. Let it be this way also. And let this also be this way. Okay. Now let us try to run again. Is it working now? Something is missing. So H, F, G, T, V, X, 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 T, V, X. Okay. We have not defined what is N, right? N is not defined, है ना? So N is equal to, let us say, 20, and H also we need to define because earlier H was there, but we removed it. So let us say 200, and this thing is 0.1. So H is mentioned here, which is now found. N is also mentioned now. I think now it should work. Just a minute, part 3 of this thing does not work. Okay. Just a minute. Oh. Append it to T. There I had defined one, what we can say, blank set, right? Here it is completely different way it is done. So I'm just changing it. X is equal to and to X. Okay. Now I think it should go. So what we have done is, in earlier case, what was happening? There was a blank set generated, and then those values were overwritten from there. Okay. In this case, now it is not overwritten. We are literally starting with only one element, and we are appending the elements as required. So let us. Oh, one more thing. See, I have a habit of writing quit here so that after everything is done, I am quitting the kernel. So this is a command for leaving the kernel. If I don't use that quit kernel, automatically these things will come all right. Okay, chalo. Evaluate notebook. What is going on? So T is 0, V is 1, X is, let us say 1. Again, let us evaluate it. So why it is keying this thing? Let me check. For this thing is V 1 minus BV KX minus BV minus KX. It's all right. What is the issue with that? So let us say this is G, this is F. Sometimes that also might create an issue. No. Okay. Is 0.5, 0.2. There is some problem with this. TZ, VZ, TZ, SZ. G. Yes, anybody can find any issue in this one? Let me know. There is as such no issue. It should work.
We can give this program to everybody and they can solve the problem too.
No, it should work straight away. I don't know why it is not working out right now. Some basic thing is missing.
So that will
I was just trying to give a feel that you can, once you have one program working in one case, it should be working for other cases as well.
Okay.
This thing is V append to this.
So they can think on it and tomorrow morning we can start with this.
Yeah, that is fine, but I wanted to solve it right away.
Okay.
Okay, let us see this. Okay, I'll just work out where is the issue and I'll share this code with them also.
Yes,
so
yes.
that let them find it out. As such, see, when you are trying to solve anything, for example, once you have done this problem with RK4 method, I have a list of problems that you can do straight away with RK4 in this way. Okay. For example, nowadays, one of the best thing that we can do is solving a problem for disease spread. Okay. So as far as, say, for example, corona is concerned, there is a model which can tell you at what time the peak may come, at what time it will be working, right? But I wanted this code to work flawlessly before we can go for that. So there is some change here somewhere that I have to identify, then I will be able to tell you, right? There is a chance that this V and X are interchanged or what? Oh, just a minute. Issue is here. P, V, X, right? It has to be that same thing, no? P, V, X. Okay, it should be working now. No, still not. Okay, so let us say 0.1. No, I have to still find out where is the issue. I'll work it out and then let you know. Fine. Let us take it tomorrow. Not an issue. But there is some minor problem coming up that we have to work out. Okay. I'll have to check it. Okay, not an issue.
Okay.
So let us go with some other problem. Let us say somebody was saying we can go with the Schrodinger equation, right? For example, let us go with this. This is another way of clearing everything, right? This is harmonic oscillator Schrodinger equation. Okay. So what is basically done in this code is you are simply trying to solve Schrodinger equation using inbuilt features of Mathematica. Okay. What you have done is you have defined one equation for your potential, which is basically harmonic oscillator potential. You are defining what is mass, you are defining what is the natural frequency or omega, you are defining, okay, you are defining all the basic stuff, okay, and then you can see here what you have done is you are solving this equation numerically, and then you are trying to find out this thing, and this is the same expression that I used just before some time, that this is the way you are basically getting that solution out, and you can simply plot that thing under some limit. Okay, so if you really want to use inbuilt feature of Mathematica, you can use this thing directly. This is solving Schrodinger equation using harmonic oscillator potential. Okay, let us try to run this. So when I run this thing, you can see here that for a particular case, see, what it is doing is it is basically giving you three different plots. First plot is potential. Second plot is function when it is exactly matching the energy. See, as far as your Schrodinger equation is concerned, what is basically happening is let us try to think in terms of, say, particle in a box problem, because somebody was telling that thing. Okay, so let us say, suppose you are doing RK4 method, for example. Okay, ये आपका particle in a box वाला problem है. Assume this thing. Suppose you are starting with this thing. Now, suppose if it is your particle in a box problem, what will happen? You will say that, okay, minus h bar square by 2m d square by dx square of psi is equal to E psi. Okay. Or typically we say that, okay, this is d square psi by dx square plus k square psi is equal to 0. This is how we want. And we say that, okay, this thing is nothing but 2me by h bar this way. Okay. This is how we normally use this thing. And then finally we solve this equation. But this equation will be solved, or this psi will be valid only for certain energies. So typically what we need to do, we have to simply go on changing this value of k. So ultimately we are changing the value of E. Okay. You go on changing the value of E. At a particular value of E only, you will be getting the solution exactly as intended. What do you mean by exactly as intended? Your RK4 is basically initial value problem, right? While your particle in a box is basically a boundary value problem. Here, you are saying that psi of 0 has to be 0. You are saying that psi of L or A, whatever you call it, that also has to be 0. Now, for example, when I start with this thing, I have two things to choose. Because it's a second order differential equation, I must have two initial value conditions. That means I should know what is psi 0. Obviously, it is 0. I should know what is psi prime 0. That means what is the slope of the function at this point. That also I should know. So obviously, I cannot keep this thing to be 0. Okay, because there is some finite slope here. I am talking about particle in a box. I am not talking about a regular other problem. For example, if it is a what you can say finite square well, then it won't be that thing. It can be 0 as well. Okay, but this is some number, so we can kink up to say 1. Now I have chosen these two initial value conditions. Now I am choosing a particular value of k. For one particular value of k, I will be getting it this thing. For the other value of k, I'll be getting it this way. So only for a particular value of k, I will be exactly falling here. So only a particular value of k is going to give me a valid wave function which satisfies my both the boundary value conditions. Okay. So what is our goal? Our goal is to find out what is that k value. Okay. Here, this code is a raw code as such, which is simply using the what we can say inbuilt feature of Mathematica. Of course, this code can be converted into a fully well working code, uh, means by certain changes, but this is the way it works. You can see here, in one case, what they have done is they have defined this set. Okay, here I think I should zoom into this thing, right? So let us say 150. Is it visible now? Yeah, is it visible now? Yeah. See, here you have got M defined, you have got omega defined, you have got energy defined. Now, we know that this En is 0.5. This is the exact ground state energy for harmonic oscillator, right? H bar omega by 2. So H bar is 1 in our case. Omega we have chosen 1. So obviously energy has to be 0.5 only. In the other case, you are choosing energy to be this. In the third case, you are choosing energy to be this. And you are solving this same equation every time. यही same चीज यहाँ पे दिखा हुआ है. देखो, this S1 and S2 have got only one difference. Only one difference. What? Anybody? What is the difference between S1 and S2? And for that matter, S3? Anyone? What are the things that you are observing? Yes? What is the difference between S1 and S2? You can see they are exactly same equations. Obviously, यहाँ पे the way you are plotting it is little different. You have chosen to plot it in a dashed way, nothing else. But that is fine. You can even ignore this thing for that matter. Chalo. Let us remove this part. Okay. So it is this way. Okay. And here also, let us remove this thing. Now, what are the changes that you observe when S1 is evaluated, when S2 is evaluated, and when S3 is evaluated? Anybody? Yeah, am I audible or means is it disconnected or connected? What? I don't understand.
Yes, sir. You are
Yeah.
fully audible, sir.
Yeah. What is the difference when S1 is evaluated, when S2 is evaluated, and when S3 is evaluated? What is the difference that you observe? See, this is a very simple code. I am not asking any, what you can say, anything very much advanced here, right? I hope so. Because until and unless you can answer this question, you won't be able to write your own code in Mathematica. Remember. Now,
Sir, energy is different in three equations.
correct. So, was it that difficult to answer? See, in this case, what is happening is you have chosen En to be 0.5. Okay. And you are writing this thing in such a way that now see, when you are writing EQ, so you can see here, this EQ is an equation. EQ is an equation. And that equation looks like this. Now, if you see carefully, this is the equation that we normally will write for harmonic oscillator. Okay, so you have got psi x into Vx minus half m psi double prime x. So in Mathematica, if you write psi double prime x, it literally takes it as second order derivative of x, psi with respect to x. And then En is used here. That En we have chosen to be 0.5, and that En will be directly coming here straight away. So there is no specific mention of En here. In this case, you can see that this is now En1. So it is little less than En. Okay. Very obviously, Schrodinger equation will be solved if and only if you have got exact required value of energy. That means exact required value of K in this case. Okay. So what should be done? We have to define one energy value, and then we will solve the same thing again. No difference is there at all. Only thing is that now whenever En comes in our calculation, it will be taken as En1. And that En1 means now it will be giving you output which is little different. For example, let us run this thing again. So it will not be blurred then. This is the simply potential, nothing else. The potential that you have defined here, this potential, which is the harmonic oscillator potential, that is plotted here, right? This is the solution. This is the psi value for the given potential. But this will be working exactly until you have got this thing to be En, right? Your energy is exactly matching with the ground state energy. In that case, it will be working. Then if it is not ground state energy, it will be going like this. Okay. And if it is 0.51, then it will be going like this. So only for the case when the energy is exactly matching with the ground state, you will have a solution. Remember, if you remember the basic requirement of a wave function to be a valid wave function, this is the only wave function which is having that property. In this wave function, what you are getting is a kind of divergence happening here, but in positive direction. Here, divergence is happening in negative direction. But in principle, what you want is this first one. That means only for a particular value of energy, which is an allowed energy state of the system, you will have a solution which is a valid psi. So this is the first thing that you should be able to understand. Remember, this is a very basic program, and if you really want, you can convert this thing into a fully working program for any given potential, right? Only thing is that in any given potential, it may not be possible for Mathematica to execute this thing. That's it. So what you should do? You should write your RK4 code instead of this highlighted thing. That's it. So in principle, you can even convert this thing, or you can even convert this kind of code into a toy code which can solve Dirac equation. Isn't it? Right? So if you can solve Schrodinger equation or Dirac equation numerically, that means you are open to a large number of problems that you can solve on your computer yourself. Okay? Is it okay? We have crossed the time or what?
You have crossed 20 minutes.
By 20 minutes. Oh, but you, somebody should stop me. अभी मुझे सामने लोग सो रहे हैं कि जग रहे हैं वही पता नहीं चलता है, तो मुझे कैसे आगे पता चलेगा?
So,
okay, I think we can take up from this point onward tomorrow. In the meantime, I will solve that issue of that code. कहाँ पे कुछ problem है देख लेता हूँ, and then tomorrow we can take it up.
Yes.
Right? But I don't know whether this is of some use to them or not. I don't understand.
No, actually, people are listening carefully. But I think, anyway, the morning lecture will be interactive, hopefully.
No, was it heavy? I don't think so. I have taken very simple problems so that they get a flavor of Mathematica.
Yes.
I have not gone into the actual technical problems that we normally tackle with,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
So maybe tomorrow we can meet again.
I think Rahul Mistry want to ask something.
Yeah. Yes, Rahul.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I don't know
Hello.
how to import data and export output
From Excel
from
and to Excel.
yes, and
Sure. We'll take it up tomorrow. No problem.
yes, sir. Yes.
Anything else?
No, sir. Yes.
No, if
That
you
is
have some questions ready, then you can give it to me. So tomorrow we can start with those questions, or we can come. You can also come with some questions, fresh
yes, sir.
questions tomorrow.
And
Not an issue.
how to use
If I know how to
ho-
answer those questions at that time, I will answer. But if it is ready today, it will be better for me to get the answers properly.
yes, sir. And how to use do loop in that case means
Do
हम
do loop
अगर
for importing it.
यस डेटा
Okay.
इंपोर्ट करके फिर पर्टिकुलर
उसमें
फंक्शन को डू लूप का यूज करके उसमें
मतलब
आउटपुट
suppose
कैसे जनरेट
you have got a series of input data that you want
यस
to get one by one and write the
यस
output again one by one into some other Excel file, right?
यस सर यस एग्जैक्टली
Yeah. So I'll prepare one small code for that, and then I'll be explaining you using that code. So
ओके
that
सर
will be
थैंक
easier, right?
यू यस यस थैंक यू
Yeah.
सर
Anything else?
नो सर
Okay, so
Okay.
if you have not any questions, so let's thank Dr. Jignesh Pandya sir for his nice lecture. And tomorrow we'll discuss whatever we have left. Yes. Thank you, Jignesh bhai.
Okay. Chalo. Bye.
Bye.